So we will come back to that tongue twister a little bit later on. Thank you for being here, Filomena Portugal. We'll start officially now with our monthly Portuguese language and culture session with you. Let's explore Portugal. Vamos embora. To you,
well, again, Astrid asked me to speak about 3 places, but you know me, Carl. I couldn't speak about just 3 places, isn't it?
Torture, isn't it? Torture. 3 places, no, I can't do that.
Just 3 places? No. So, let's see. So, let me start here. Okay. So, so interesting places to visit in Portugal, right? And so, of course, there are lots of interesting places to visit in Portugal, and to pick 3, it's very hard for me. Very hard for me. So I have picked 3 regions, and then within each region, I have picked a few places. So it's a bit long, but in the end, if you want to ask me anything about the language, we can ask. You can ask about language, but at the moment, I'm just going to present the places. So I would like to present you in the north, in the region of Minho, to speak about a little bit about Viana do Castelo, and that's why I am wearing my Viana do Castelo heart today. So yes. Viana do Castelo, Braga and Guimarães. Then in central Portugal, I have picked the highest mountain in the mainland, because in the Azores, we have the highest mountain of all, but Serra da Estrela is the highest in the mainland. And I have chosen from Seia, from the city of Seia to the city of Covilhã, a tour that you can take if you want to visit Serra da Estrela. And then in the south, I have picked Alentejo and Évora, and also a town that probably most of you don't know, Arraiolos, and it's also a very important town in terms of carpet. That's my suggestion for today. Okay.
Lovely itinerary. Thank you very much.
So in the north, Minho, Viana do Castelo, Braga, and Guimarães. First of all, for you to see where Minho is. So Minho is that part of Portugal in the northwest, and in this this province, Minho, I have chosen Viana do Castelo. So with the very beautiful traditional costumes of Viana do Castelo. So this is one example of the parade that they do every year in August. And this year I have met some expats there as well. And in Braga, also an important city of Minho, and one of the also big sanctuaries of Bom Jesus de Braga. And Guimarães, of course, because, as you know, here Portugal was born. So as it says in one of these walls, aqui nasceu Portugal. So Guimarães is a city that is very connected with the beginning of the country. Okay, so speaking about Viana do Castelo, I start with this picture because it says it all. I think this picture shows you why I love Viana do Castelo. It's a beautiful city, and you have the sea, you have the river Lima, and you have this beautiful sanctuary as well. That if you go up the hill, you have this fantastic view over the city and the river and the sea. So so let's start with Viana do Castelo. So Viana do Castelo is one of the most beautiful cities in the north of Portugal, and the special geographical situation of the city next to the sea and to the mouth of the river Lima, as I said, can be seen from the Santa Luzia hill. So this stunning view, and the Basilica of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. So it's a building from the 19th century, could be your starting point for visiting the city if you want. It's a very nice spot. Then Vienna is also a city that is a very, very old city. So with lots of coats of arms that you can find in lots of buildings, churches, monasteries, monumental fountains, and everything that you can find in the city is really worth a visit. Then, for example, at the tourist office, as I have here, you can ask for a brochure and choose a route inspired by Manueline, Renaissance, Baroque, Art Deco, or tile architecture. So whichever streets you stroll through in the historic center, you will always come back to the Praça da República, so the picture that I have on the left side, the heart of the city. So this is really the heart of the city, and this is where you find the tourist office as well. And this is where you will find the 16th century Misericordia building and fountain, as well as the old Passos do Conselho, so the town hall. And close by is the Romanesque Cathedral or Igreja Matriz Parish Church. You also have near this the museum, a very nice museum about the traditional costumes that you can also visit, and I recommend a visit as well. Then, speaking of Vienna, you have to speak about the celebrations they have in August. So facing the sea, that was responsible for Vienna's history. In Vienna, they also have, they build boats, and so Vienna has always been connected to the building of big ships. And they do the patron saint of fishermen is Nossa Senhora da Agonia, and every year the Nossa Senhora da Agonia Day is on the 20th of August, and so they take the image, as you can see in one of these pictures here. They take the image to the sea on a boat, and all the other boats are also decorated, and during a few days, you have different parades in the city where you can see the beautiful, very beautiful costumes of Viana do Castelo. And Viana is also known for its filigree gold work. Of course, mine is not gold, but it's but it's this shape, this heart that you also have in the picture there, is the coração de Viana, is the heart of Viana, and it's this particular shape is known everywhere as the heart of Viana. So this can be seen, for example, in the Museu do Trage, as I told you a while ago, in near that square, near the post office as well. So it's the museum where you can see the costumes and the gold museum, and the municipal museum. So and also you can see the ship Gilianos, that you have a picture as well there. It was built in the Viana do Castelo shipyards to support the cod fishing industry, and the vessel is once more anchored here in memory of the city's maritime and shipbuilding traditions. So as I told you before, the architecture in Vienna is amazing. It's really a nice city to visit, and especially in August for this celebration of Senhora da Agonia, you have innumerous reasons to see the parades and to have some fun there. Then, speaking of Braga, because as you have seen at the beginning by the map, Braga is not very far. And so Braga is one of the oldest cities in the country. As you know, our fights, the Catholics started to fight to conquer the territory to the Muslims in the north, and then those battles have been have been fought further to the south, and so the Algarve was the last part, of course, and the north, and Minho in particular, the north part was the first part of the country to become Catholic, for the Catholics to conquer. So Braga, built more than 2,000 years ago. Bracara Augusta was the Roman name, founded by Augustus, and it was located on one of the main Roman roads in the Iberian Peninsula. So, for example, in Conímbriga, near Coimbra, we have the Roman ruins of Conímbriga, and it was exactly in Conímbriga where this main Roman road was, between Lisbon and Braga, so Braga Augusta, and the road was the main road that passed in Conímbriga, here near Coimbra. So it was even given the status of capital of the Roman province of Galicia, present-day Galicia in Spain, by Emperor Caracalla. And the Braga diocese is the oldest in Portugal. Braga is the city with most churches. You can see a church almost every corner. There are churches everywhere in Braga. And so in the Middle Ages, the city even competed with Santiago de Compostela in power and importance. And one of the Caminos de Santiago passed through here when this pilgrimage cult grew with the Christian reconquest and the foundation of Portugal. So then I would recommend a visit to Braga's cathedral. Is also the oldest cathedral in the whole country, and was built in the 12th century by the parents of Portugal's first king, Dom Henrique and Dona Teresa, who are buried there. Braga is, to this day, one of the country's main religious centers, as I said, having the Holy Week celebrations and the São João festival as the highlights in its liturgical and tourist calendar. And because this cathedral in Braga is the oldest in the country, we have a Portuguese saying, mais velho que a Sé de Braga. So when something is very old, we usually say, it's older than the Cathedral of Braga. So it's a Portuguese saying, mais velho que a Sé de Braga.
That's brilliant. What's the characteristic of the festivities? In Porto, there's the plastic hammers, the various things that happen. It's unique to a location. What would it be in Braga?
The location, you mean?
No, in the festival itself, people presumably don't hit each other on the head with a plastic hammer.
São João, you mean the São João festival?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, the São João festival is in this avenue that you can see the picture on the left, and everything is decorated with the arches and everything.
Yes.
And yes, they also celebrate with lots of music and drinking and eating. It's the usual in Portugal.
The usual.
Okay. Usual in Portugal, yes. And the food in Braga, you also have marvelous gastronomy. Papas de Sarrabulho is one of the typical gastronomy dishes, and you have plenty to taste. Lots of things in Braga and in Minho in general. Yeah. Then also, of course, if you go to Braga, you should visit. If you go uphill, you should visit Bom Jesus de Braga. So Bom Jesus Sanctuary. It's a city icon with its monumental staircase, as you can see in the picture. So if you are fit, you can try to go up. And it also offers an excellent view over the city, and also two other churches. So the one on the right, in the picture on the right, is Nossa Senhora do Sameiro, another sanctuary, and an important place of Marian worship, and Santa Maria da Valpera Church. So, but if you don't feel like climbing all those steps, you can always take the elevador do Bom Jesus. So this elevator that is, it was the first funicular built on the Iberian Peninsula, not just in Portugal, but the first one in the Iberian Peninsula, and it is currently so the oldest in service in the world to use the water counterweight system, because this works just with water counterweight. So it's a marvelous system that is still working nowadays.
It's wonderful, isn't it? Beautiful autumnal picture there as well. But I
Yes.
suppose walking up the steps is a meditative process as
Yes,
well, isn't it?
yes, you can also, of course. But if you want to take your car to the upper part, you can also access with the car to the upper part.
Okay.
You don't have to worry. Okay. So this was about Braga, and now to speak a little bit about Guimarães. Of course, Guimarães is considered the birthplace of Portugal because Afonso Henriques, who went on to be the first king of Portugal, was born here. So the historical center in the area that was within the Guimarães city walls is associated with the formation and identity of Portugal and was classified as a World Heritage site based on the originality and authenticity applied in its restoration. So this city is, of course, also has lots of old verandas, granite balconies, mansions, arches, narrow streets, so very medieval narrow streets, and towers and everything. So you can imagine, as the text says, for a moment, you might imagine yourself to be in a medieval setting where the nobility built their houses over time. So here, for example, you can find on your way to the top, to the castle at the top, you will find the palace of the Dukes of Bragança, a 15th century monument. And then you can also see the monument of King Afonso Henriques, the first king of Portugal, and the chapel of St. Michael, São Miguel, and finally the castle, which dates back to the 10th century and is closely linked to the foundation of Portugal. The Dukes of Bragança, they don't live in the palace anymore, but they live in Sintra, but we still have Dukes of Bragança, Dom Duarte Pio and Dona Isabel de Heredia. They are the ones that would be the king and queen of Portugal if we had a monarchy now. So we still have the royal family, although, well, basically nobody cares.
They do. They do.
Nobody cares about no. It's not. The Portuguese don't are not very interested in the royal family, but they have a house. They have a beautiful house in Sintra, and they live there, and they would be the royal family. Dom Duarte Pio would be our king now.
That's amazing. I had some idea that there was a royal family,
Yes,
but
that is.
they don't have an Instagram account, maybe.
I don't know. But Dom Duarte Pio, he likes to behave as if he was the king.
Really?
He really, well, and just his name and his children's names, they are, with lots and lots of names, as a royal family should have. So long, very long names. And they really behave as if they were, royal family. And he represents Portugal in the monarchies in Europe, in other monarchies in Europe. He goes to weddings and everything, representing the Portuguese royal family. And his daughter has been married. Recently, she got married last year, I think it was, or maybe this year, I can't remember. And everything was broadcasted on television, and
my invitation went missing with yours, I think, maybe, Filomena.
yeah.
Get to us,
Yes,
didn't
but she even had a cake, for example. She had a cake to share with the people, because as a duchess. She should share that cake with the people, and yeah, they behave as if they were in in a monarchy.
Amazing, amazing. Well, there's a webinar idea, possibly.
And for example, Dom Duarte never votes for an election of the president of the republic. He never votes because that is against his principles. He is for the monarchy, not for the republic.
Yes, very interesting. Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
So, to speak about the Battle of São Mamede, that was also a very good story, in my opinion. The Battle of São Mamede was a battle fought in 1128 between Afonso Henriques and the troops of the Portugalense barons against the troops of the Galician Count Fernão Pires de Trava, lover of his mother, Countess Dona Teresa de Leão, who was trying to seize the government of the Condado Portugalense. So the Count, Henry of Burgundy, had died on the 24th of April, 1112. And then when she became a widow, Dona Teresa, she started to be in a very good relationship with the Galician counts, and especially with this count Fernão Pires de Trava. And of course, the growing influence of the Galician count and his brother in the government of the county Portugalense led to this revolt of 1128. And the rebels chose Afonso Henriques, the son of Henry and Teresa, as their leader. And so they fought this battle of São Mamede in Guimarães, and Afonso Henriques won the battle, of course, and continued the county expansion by conquering territories from the Muslims and became the first king of Portugal. So that's why the origin of the country was this battle between mother and son.
Yes, wow. To
Yeah.
create the first king of Portugal.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
This picture I have here is the teleférico da Penha. So in Guimarães, you can also take this cable car that links Guimarães city to the Monte da Penha. So it was also, we have lots of firsts here. Oops, sorry. It was the first suspended transport to be put into operation in Portugal, opening in 1995. So it's 1,700-meter route, takes it up to an altitude of 400 meters, and the journey lasts for about 10 minutes. And at the top, as you can see, you have the sanctuary, the Penha.
Brilliant. We have Thack with us tonight, who is in California, but was over there a couple of weeks ago. Enjoyed riding the teleférico.
Teleférico.
Well worth the ride. So a review. Thank you very much, Thack, for being here. It sounds like you enjoyed yourself there.
Yeah, so that was all about the north. And then from central Portugal, I have chosen Serra da Estrela, the highest mountain, as I said. And I have chosen this route here that I have on the map from Seia on the left side and going through the mountain until you get to the city of Covilhã on the right side of the map. So, of course, this is more or less an hour drive, but I would advise lots of stops on the way, right? I have a few photographs for you to see. For example, the top, the torre, it's called torre, the tower, another word, right? Torre, torre. And so this is the top of the mountain. You have the ski resort, and you have beautiful landscapes that you can see, and it's called, we call that area Cova da Beira. Beira is what we call the central Portugal. We have three beiras. We have Beira Litoral, which is where I live, Coimbra, so nearer to the sea. And then we have Beira Baixa and Beira Alta. Beira Baixa meaning lower Beira, and Beira Alta, the higher part of Beira. So this Beira Baixa is where I have chosen this itinerary, is Beira Baixa, because then Beira Alta is to Guarda, a bit to the north. So starting with the city of Seia. Well, I would advise bread, the Museum of Bread. So the Bread Museum, Museu do Pão, as you can see on the picture on the right, the Bread Museum is a private museum located in Ceia, where the traditions, history, and art of the Portuguese bread, and it's really an art, and you know that, Carl, because bread, and Jerry and Astrid as well, of course, because you live in Portugal and you know how good the bread is, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this museum it opened to the public into 2002. And you can visit, of course, the entire family can visit this museum, and the children can learn the process of how bread is made, and you can taste some delicious regional products. And there is a lovely restaurant there as well. And as you can see by the picture on the right, the balcony gives a fantastic view over the valley and the city of Ceia. So inside the museum, the kids follow the cycle of bread. There are 14 scenes to depict the bread making process. And the visitors also experience an antique bakery and an old street market, and other exhibition rooms explain the political and social effects of bread as well as the art of bread. As you can see, you might recognize the picture Festa dos Tabuleiros, right, Jerry? Festa dos Tabuleiros in Tomar. It's also to do with bread, because the trays, the tabuleiros that the girls have to carry on their heads, they are decorated with bread and flowers. So there is, of course, also a reference to this in this museum of bread. And on the right side, you have Padeira de Aljubarrota. Padeira de Aljubarrota, the famous Portuguese woman that also helped to defeat the Spanish in the Battle of Aljubarrota. And so, of course, she was a baker, and she killed a few Spanish in the oven as well.
She was
So,
quite the woman, wasn't she? Because they
yes.
thought they'd found safety in this lovely lady's oven. Can we hide?
Uh-huh.
Can we hide in there for a little while
Yes.
until our enemies have gone? And she, yeah, of course you can. That was
Of
it.
course, of course. It's easier to
Yes.
catch you.
Come
Yeah.
on in, fellas. Yeah.
Yeah. And on the top right, I have a picture of one example of bread that you can find from the museum. So it's made in this Museu do Pão in Ceia, but you can find this kind of packaging in lots of supermarkets, in the big supermarkets like Pingo Doce, Continente, Intermarché, those big supermarkets. You can also buy the bread from Museu do Pão. And there are all sorts of bread. Then going from Ceia, if you go up the mountain, you reach the highest village of Portugal, Sabugueiro. So Sabugueiro, as you can see in that sign, bem-vindos ao Sabugueiro, a aldeia mais alta de Portugal, so the highest village of Portugal, altitude 1050 metros, so 1050 meters high is the last inhabited area before the top of the mountain. So then here in this village, you can find lots of breeders of dog, the dog Serra de Estrela. So the Estrela mountain dog is a large breed of dog which has been used for centuries in the Estrela mountain, and it is still a very, it's we are very fond of this dog. The Portuguese like the Serra de Estrela dog very much. It's a huge dog. So they can have long coat or short coat, and the earliest of the Estrela ancestors were herd guarding dogs. Of course, there were now there are still lots of sheep there in Serra de Estrela, but a few years ago there were a lot more sheep, and these dogs were excellent guards of the sheep. So since there are no written records, it is not known for sure whether the ancestors which contributed to this breed were brought by the Romans when they colonized the Iberian Peninsula, or later by the invading Visigoths. But there is no disagreement that the Estrela is one of the oldest breeds in Portugal. So I have this picture that I took in Seia once of these two puppies, because they are still puppies there.
Wow.
Yes, they are
There's a
still
donkey
puppies.
already, yeah.
The dogs are huge. They are huge, really huge. Then, if you go on the main road, you arrive at Lagoa Comprida. So Lagoa Comprida is an artificial lake. It's a dam that concentrates the crystal clear and cold, rather cold water from the snow meltdown in Serra da Estrela. So this was an old glacier with 1 kilometer in length, and taking advantage of this cover, began in 1912 the construction of the dam. So in 1914, it had a height of 6 meters, and then in 1934, reached 15 meters, and now since 1965, it has a height of 28 meters. And so it is a gravity type dam formed by 3 arches of granite masonry with 1,200 meters of development. And the reservoir has a capacity of about 12 million
Cubic meters.
Here. Yes, cubic meters of water, and floods an area of 800,000 square meters. And this picture of me at the bottom is something that I also recommend if you like walking. From Lagoa Comprida, you can walk for 5 kilometers and then go and see the Covão dos Conchos. This Covão dos Conchos, this picture that I have put now, it was built in the 50s to link the Lagoa Comprida, this artificial lake. So it was a way of preserving the water, of taking the water to the Lagoa Comprida. So this is the beginning of the tunnel, and so it's a nice walk, 5 kilometers, but it's a very nice walk. And when you reach this area of Covão dos Conchos, you see how beautiful that hole is also. Although it's an artificial hole, but it's nice to see all the water going in. It seems something magical there.
Well, it's like dangerously alluring, isn't it? But horribly dangerous, presumably.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't go in the water, do you?
No, I know. You know
well,
like,
first it's extremely cold. It's very, very cold.
Yes.
And so nobody goes in. Yeah.
Good.
Then, going on the main road, you have Torre, right? Torre is the highest point of mainland Portugal, as I said, and the second most elevated of the Portuguese Republic. Only Mount Pico in the Azores is higher than this. So Torre has an unusual feature of being a summit that is accessible by paved road. So there is no problem. You can drive your car up to the top. So the elevation is 1,993 meters. And right in the highest point, there is this roundabout that you can see in the picture. And then near this roundabout, you have a very small shopping center, but there is a fantastic restaurant, a very good restaurant, and some shops with typical products of this region, like the Serra de Estrela cheese, which is my favorite cheese. It's very, very good. And the ski center, and yes, you can buy lots of things here. Also, in Serra da Estrela, it's a place to buy a leather coat, for example. If you want a leather coat, the leather coats are excellent quality there.
And knives. I noticed they
and
had lots of knives.
Yes, yes,
Hey.
yes. And so you have lots of products, like blankets and woolen things, lots of woolen things, jackets and pullovers, lots of things. So from here, the nearest urban area is the city of Covilhã, 20 kilometers away. And the nearest hotel is in Penhas da Saúde, 10 minutes away, so not very far. Going down, so towards Covilhã, you pass this altar of Our Lady of Good Star, Nossa Senhora de Boa Estrela. So it's situated at 1,850 meters. And the image is a huge image. It's 7 meters high, and it was inaugurated in 1946. So it is said that this lady appeared in the mountain to a shepherd, and for this reason she became known as guide and protector of shepherds. And every year they also do a celebration there on the second Sunday of August. So it's very important for the local people and for the shepherds. And so now, if you come down, going down, and if you turn, before going to Covilhã, if you turn left at the junction there, that goes to Manteigas, another city in the other part of the mountain, then you come to a place called Covão da Metade. So Covão da Metade, this place behind me also, Covão da Metade is where the river Zézere starts, okay? Rio Zézere. It's a very, very nice area. And as you can see, because you have seen, a few pictures, but even if you compare with the picture on the left side, you just have rocks. And on the right side, you see a completely different landscape with lots of trees. So if you pass to that slope, to that part of the mountain, the landscape is completely different. It seems that you are in a completely different mountain. But you have lots of trees. There is a picnic park here by the river. There are facilities where you can grill. You can take some meat or vegetables or whatever you want to grill, and you can use these facilities for free. You don't pay anything. You just bring your own coal, your own things, and you can use these facilities for free. And there are tables and benches to sit down, and you can have a very nice time here. And this is not exactly near the main road. So to get to Covão da Metade, you have to walk a little bit, not much, but you have to leave your car at the main road and walk a little bit. So it's completely safe for children, for example, to play. They can run around, no danger of a car coming, and it's a very, very nice area. One of my favorites in Serra da Estrela. Okay, so this is it, and I'm going fast, but because it's so many things.
If everybody could get back on the coach now, we are going. Everybody here. Let's make sure everybody's here.
So, Alentejo, South, Évora, and Arraiolos. Of course, everybody knows this picture of Évora, the Temple of Diana, as it is known, the Roman Temple of Diana. And just by this picture, you see how beautiful Évora is. But Évora has got a lot more, not just this. The best way to see the city is on foot, because Évora and Alentejo in general, it's a very flat area. So it's the flattest area of Portugal, Alentejo. And so it is easy to walk. It's very different from visiting cities like Coimbra, for example. In Coimbra, you go up and down and up and down, or even in the north, or in Jerez, or in Trás-os-Montes, the mountain area. Of course, everything is going up and down. But in Alentejo, it's a flat area, so you can easily walk, and you can discover all the monuments and the history of Évora and its rich heritage. And so this also dates from the Roman era. It was chosen, the city of Évora was chosen by the kings of Portugal in the 15th century to serve as their residence, because they like this calmness here. And so, of course, it contributed to its development and cultural importance in the following centuries. And so it's due to all this, the long history and the typical the typical urban center of the 16th to 18th century, that has led UNESCO to classify Évora as a World Heritage Site. So you can see Praça do Giraldo. Praça do Giraldo, this picture, is the city center. And so it's located in the heart of the city. And this square is an excellent meeting point with coffee shops, sidewalk cafes, shops, a tourist information office. You also have the Church of Santo Antão and the marble drinking fountain with chafariz in Portuguese. We call it chafariz, with 8 spouts representing the 8 streets that they all lead to this main square, Praça do Giraldo. And if you visit Évora, and if you are brave enough, you can also visit other things like the Chapel of Bones that you have here in this picture. So starting from the arches of Praça do Giraldo, you can visit the main points of interest. So the temple and the Roman bath, the medieval walls, the cathedral, the Graça Church, the São Francisco Church. And when you go to São Francisco Church, at the side of São Francisco Church, you have this Chapel of Bones. So this is a chapel that was built. Everything is covered with bones and skeletons, and it's a bit scary.
Is that a tribute to those people, or what's the idea?
Well, the idea is to make you think of the importance of life, and how lucky you are to be alive, and it's for you to meditate a little bit on the importance of life.
Wow, amazing. Yeah. And one of Portugal's firsts, as in very early with repurposing and reusing material.
Yes.
Construction.
Yes, we were the first in many things, and also using the bones to build a church, chapel. Yes. The Cathedral of Évora is the largest medieval cathedral in Portugal. So the picture that you have at the bottom is the Cathedral of Évora, and it is really a huge cathedral, and it's the largest medieval cathedral. Then, if you have other interests, and for example, if you are interested in archaeology, if you take the National Road 114 in the direction of Guadalupe, 3 kilometers away, you will come upon Cromlech dos Almendres. So Cromlech dos Almendres is the largest megalith of the Iberian Peninsula, with 95 monoliths. So these, of course, are thousands of years old. So it's also very interesting. It's the Portuguese Stonehenge.
Yeah, amazing place.
Yeah. So and in Alentejo in general, you have plenty of archaeological sites that you can visit. So there are lots of places you can visit if you are interested in archaeology. Then I would like to present you the town of Arraiolos, because I think the majority might have heard about Évora already, because it's a city and it's one of the most important cities of Alentejo. But Arraiolos is also worth a visit. As you can see, this castle is a bit different because it's a round castle. And the city, the town, it's not a city. So it's a pleasant Alentejo town whose foundation dates back to the 2nd century before Christ. And the medieval castle was built at the orders of Dom Dinis, our king Dom Dinis, although the town soon spread beyond its walls. And an important part of the town's artistic heritage is the 16th century Salvador church that you can see in the middle, with some extremely beautiful paintings. So why did I mention Arraiolos? It was especially because of the carpets. The name of this town is well known internationally thanks to the famous Arraiolos carpets. Have you ever heard of Arraiolos carpets?
I haven't, Filomena. To
No?
my shame, the only context in which I know Arraiolos is a wine. There is a wine
Well,
called
yes,
Arraiolos.
Alentejo is also famous for the
Yes.
wine,
Yeah.
but Arraiolos is particularly famous for the carpets that, as you can see by this simple picture, they are amazing.
Yeah.
These carpets are handmade. They are handmade, every carpet, and they are produced here by the local craftsmen and women, having been referred to in documents as long ago as the 16th century. So
Amazing.
some art historians have devoted themselves to studying and characterizing this art, which has continued to grow in importance over the years. And it's really, really beautiful carpets. And they have these colorful designs. And just to finish, I have a picture of my daughter trying to make a carpet from a
Oh,
rail. My daughter, 27 years ago.
fantastic. So
27
you
years
can have
ago.
a go. You can do a little bit of stitching and see how it all comes.
Yes, you can learn, and you can do your own Arraiolos carpet.
Yeah.
There is an art, of course, to learn, to be learned. But she was very enthusiastic at the time
Fun.
to learn with her father. And this carpet is now ready. Now it's ready, but it took a few years to be ready.
What a
Yes.
wonderful thing. Wonderful. And I had no idea about the carpets, and that's why I love your
Yeah,
webinars.
that's why
Learn something new.
I have decided to, whoops, so let me, oh, I lost you now. Let me
No,
see
we
if
can
I,
see you fine. We're just seeing the presentation there. So if
yeah. Okay, now I got it. So,
okay.
okay.
There you are. Okay, excellent. That
So
was wonderful.
that's why I decided it was important to speak about the Arraiolos, because all the other cities you probably knew about, but Arraiolos and the carpets they are incredibly beautiful carpets, and so I think it's worth exploring. If now
Yeah.
that you know about the Arraiolos carpets, I think it's worth exploring.
Well, we have some feedback on YouTube. Somebody who went there, Sam D, who said it was the beautiful carpets. Yeah, loved going to Arraiolos. Beautiful carpets, lindíssimos, says Sam D.
Yes, they are.
So thank you over there on YouTube, Ignace, Sam from Canada, in fact, who came over to the Alentejo, those in Canada. And Ignace, thank you very much for your contributions over there. I'm going to end the live stream over there. If you are a YouTube viewer and you would like to be coming and joining us here, sign up with Expats Portugal, become a premium member, and then you can take part in the after party and talk more with all of our guests, including Filomena tonight, of course. So I'll stop that. We will be back with the Dream Team over on YouTube. But for the time being, YouTube, thank you very much for being with us. I'm going to pause you there. Okay, that's that, and we'll stick around. If well, hopefully you can stay with us a little bit longer, Filomena, and have a chat.
Yes, I'm sorry that I didn't focus much on language tonight. I didn't focus on language. I just focus on explaining the places. But well, Sometimes it's more language, sometimes it's more about the information.
Yeah, and I think there were place names and Taj and other things that people would have picked up a bit of vocabulary anyway, and history, with the kings and the baker as well, who we were.
Yeah.
There are some
A
common.
padeira de Aljubarrota. Yeah.
Yes, she was British Dalmaida, wasn't she?
Yes, Brits de Almeida. Yeah.
Now, Denise is with us from South Africa. Good evening to you. Lovely to see you. Peder, of course, as well, who was making the connection. Guimarães is how similar the ending Reich is to the spelling of Cumraich, which means a Welsh lady rather than a Welshman. Also, the pronunciation sounded the same to me, Guimarães. Thak, as I said, in from California this evening. Lovely to have you. And Arup is here. Guimarães is beautiful. There 2 weeks ago, as we said before, Thak, who enjoyed the tele. See, there's a little bit of linguistics.
Teleférico.
Yes, with an accent on the E, the last E.
Yes.
Teleférico.
Yeah, because if you have an accent, you always stress where the accent is. So if you have teleférico, although it's not the syllable, the one before the last, it's not the penultimate syllable, but if the accent is there, you have to stress that syllable. So teleférico.
Don't stress with the language, stress with the accents. It's easy.
That's right.
2 years in Braga, says Laura. Hi, Laura. You lived there for 2 years. I would add the festival Braga Augusta. And that's where people dress up as Romans.
Bracara Augusta, yeah.
Yeah. While visiting the Bom Jesus, go behind the fake fountain and take the stairs and go a little more up, and you'll find a little lake up there as well. So a nice little tip from Laura.
Yes, a beautiful lake, yes.
Yep. And the royal princess was married at the National Palace of Mafra, says Jose Cruz. Maybe he was invited, even if we weren't. Maybe he was invited. Made himself a home here in Portugal. He may well have been invited. I always love when any royal is named Harry. It makes me giggle for some reason, La Ronda says. How dare you laugh at our royal Harry, there, La Ronda. Interesting that a Portuguese lady baker has been named best in the world. I actually thought she'd baked the Castilians, but she just set about them with her bread shovel, didn't she? A brutal woman. It has
Yes.
to be
Oh, yes. Yes, she was quite brutal.
Wasn't she? And at the enactment every year, there is often a British Dalmaida character, isn't there, wandering about, threatening to hit people with her bread shovel. And to change the subject, what beautiful dogs. Yes, those are lovely dogs up there, instead of Estrela sheepdogs. It is believed that all the stock, says Peder, of guardian dogs of Europe are descendants of the Tibetan Mastiffs introduced to Europe by Genghis Khan, who used the Tibetan Mastiffs as war dogs in his army during the conquest. My goodness. So interesting, says Denise. They are certainly good-looking dogs. And I think the Obamas had some of those, didn't they, notably? Muito obrigado from Robin. Love this segment. Can't wait to get there. It's lovely, isn't it? If you can't be here at the moment, it's wonderful when Filomena gives us a virtual tour as she's done tonight.
Yeah, I can, sorry to interrupt, but I can see some comments here, and someone says that Montserrat is also some place not to miss. But of course, but as I said, there are so many places, and even choosing those places, I try to be as quickly as possible through them. But I would have, tens of other places to choose. But of course, Alentejo is also a nice area with lots of other very nice areas like Beja and Porto Alegre and Monsaraz, and yes, and all those.
Also a wine label, Montserrat. Jerry, did you want to complain about somewhere that Filomena didn't go tonight?
No, I have no complaints, none whatsoever. That was wonderful, Filomena. Thank you. I've been to many of those places, but I've still learned stuff tonight. And now I have to go back again and
yes, right.
look a bit more.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say was that this ties in very nicely with what we're trying to do in Expats Portugal in 2025 in terms of organizing some in-person meetups. And we're hoping to go around and have meetups in different parts of Portugal where there is historical or geographical or cultural interest. And with luck and a prayer, and I'm hoping we can get Filomena to join us on most, if not all of those, and give us a little tour of the local site, before we have a meetup and perhaps a nice dinner. So we're going to start, we'll be putting out some information shortly about meeting in Battaglia in February, early February. And then for our, Filomena, I'd like to work with you on this, but we'll put out a list of places and ask our members to kind of vote for the places that would be most interesting to them. And that's the plan. So it's a very nice opportunity just to mention that, because it ties in so nicely with the great work we've had, the presentation we've seen from Filomena tonight. Thank you, Filomena.
But of course, I think people should vote, of course, and decide where they would like to go. But don't forget that there are hidden gems, hidden places that people don't know about. And for example, near Battaglia, I would definitely recommend to visit the caves as well. Grutas de Miradouro. So for example, Miradouro is a must. And sometimes people don't know about the caves.
But funnily enough, I have those on the list. And the fact that Battaglia is also very near to Fatima, and it's very near to Alcobaça, as well as there are other things in Battaglia that are worth seeing. There's a museum, and there's a famous bridge and stuff, and there's some other things. We can't do all of those things as an organization, but we can tell people what's local in the area, and they can come, and if they want to spend more than one night and stay over, and we're negotiating good rates with hotels and so on, they can do that, and we can tell them where to go. So we'll try and do the best job we can in terms of helping people to discover more of Portugal. Although I think we might keep one or two of the hidden gems.
Excellent. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you both of you on that. And Jerry, you and I started the restaurant research in Battaglia, didn't we? We had a good lunch there at the old Donkey.
We did. In fact, I was there again earlier this week, Carl.
Yes.
A lovely restaurant.
Recommend that. Yeah, they don't serve Old Donkey. I mean, it's not on the menu.
No, there's no donkey. No, just great fish as far as
really good grilled fish. Absolutely right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. A great question from Peda for you, Filomena. How warm is the Alentejo? I'm constantly being told
very warm.
not to choose Alentejo. It's too darn hot. I like hot weather. How hot do you think it is?
Well, it depends on the season, of course. But in summer, it can be easily over 40 degrees Celsius. So it's very easy to go over 40. So it can be quite hot. And that's why we have this stereotype, because the Portuguese have this stereotype of Alentejano, of the inhabitant of Alentejo, being very slow, extremely slow, because no wonder, I mean, with that heat, who wants to move? So, but of course, as I said, it depends on the season, and the summer probably it is a bit too hot, but all the other seasons, you know, spring and winter and you know, you can visit, and it's very nice. You know,
October was said to be. I'll just tell you who that was in just a moment when I find that again. But yes, some talk about the Alentejo climate, and thanks Debbie for a link to some data on that as well. So that's really helpful, and probably hot for dogs, right, as well in the Alentejo. To be fair,
it can be.
Jerry, what's your experience of the heat in the Alentejo?
My experience?
No, Jerry. I think Jerry's got something to add to
that. Yes. Very hot. Very hot. I think Astrid's the best person to ask about that, as Astrid has a little country pad there.
In the Alentejo,
you always
love the Alentejo.
And
you always have the wine, right, Carl? You always have the wine. So if you are thirsty, you can have.
But that's a recipe for trouble, though, isn't it? Drink the wine because it's getting too hot.
Drink the wine, don't whine about the heat. Right. Okay. But I wanted to say something else. I wanted to come back to Bom de Jesus in near Braga, which Filomena talked about, the place, the chapel with all the steps. And the first time I went there, we accidentally drove to the chapel. You were able to park quite near it and walk to it, and there was no climbing or anything else. Then we started walking down the steps. Excuse me. And it was a very hot day. And I thought, well, this is fine, but I'm going to die when we turn around and have to walk back up again. I'm definitely going to die, right? Not tomorrow, to die.
Oh, wow.
And then we got about halfway down, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw the funicular running up. And I said to Lucy, oh, it's okay.
Yeah,
We're
miracle,
fine. We can
miracle.
carry on.
Miracle.
And for me, the best part of that trip was the funicular, 120 years old, water powered, as you said. It's an amazing thing to see.
Yes.
But it's
even
not
the bell,
promoted.
the little
It's
bell
not,
that they have.
yeah, but it's not promoted. There are no big signs saying, see the oldest funicular in Portugal or
Jerry,
the,
you live in Portugal, you should
Nothing.
know by now.
Yeah, talk about a hidden gem, right?
Yeah.
An absolute hidden gem. Although I would still make sure it's working before you sort of plow down the steps.
Yeah.
And then have to turn around and climb up again. But that was my experience. And I've recommended it to lots of people, and lots of people have come back and said how much they enjoyed visiting that area.
Yes, it's
Lovely.
a very nice experience. Yes.
Yes,
and
it is.
That point there, thanks, Jerry and Filomena, picking up on that. Things aren't always obvious, are they? So you do need some inside knowledge. You do need to ask a few more questions than you might assume, I think, wherever you go, and be prepared for extra surprises like that. Thank you, Zach. 2027 Évora will be the European Capital of Culture, which is great. So well done, Évora, for that in 3 years' time. I think we've dealt with your weather question there, Peda. We'll wrap up soon with the recording as well, and then we'll hang out a little bit longer in case anybody has any questions they would prefer to ask off air, as it were. Denise loves Viana and the filigree jewelry there that you're wearing tonight, Filomena.
Someone asked about.
Oh, what are those?
This.
And
this is from Viana. I bought this in Viana, and this is fabric. So this is made of the typical patterns of Viana clothes, right? The costumes of Viana. It's always with lots of colorful colors, red and yellow and green, and so this is I think there was a question asking if it's ceramic or what it is, but it's at least it's covered with the cloth but I'm not sure what's inside. It's something, but it's and this, as I said, unfortunately, it's not gold, but it's a very good image of the heart of Viana. And I bought this there.
Yes. When we're ever on Zoom live, we never say any of our jewelry is real gold, of course, or the copy of it. That's just a copy, and my real gold one is locked away in Geneva. Or somewhere like that. Fantastic. Fabulous tour, Filomena. Viana is my favorite, as Denise said there. Thanks, Filomena, from Stephanie. Wonderful tour and history from Debbie.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but speaking of gold, you know that when those girls parade, they do the parade in Viana.
Yes.
There are millions of euros in gold because they carry all the gold from the family. So they have lots and lots and lots of gold on them.
That's amazing. Yeah. So you will see the real thing glistening there in the official annual tour. Wonderful tour in history, says Debbie. What a wonderful tour. Thank you, Filomena. Obrigado from Donna and from Laura and other Debbie Shapiro. Wonderful tour. You can't miss Montserrat, as you pointed out before, there from Arup. Yes, and Debbie, you've answered the question about the beads. The Obamas had water dogs, Portuguese water dogs. Wouldn't it be great to interview the last royal of Portugal? Yes. And how does Arise Sir Gerard of the Lawler sound, Jerry? Maybe we can get Portugal on.
Well, actually, it again, coincidentally, you mentioned that because we've been talking to a Portuguese author, and I'm going to look for Astrid to help me out now with some names and things. And this lady writes historical fiction about Portugal, but some of her books are translated into English.
Very good.
And I believe we booked her for a webinar. Is that right, Astrid? Astrid, you're muted.
Yeah, sound, Astrid.
Yes, the author's name is Isabel Stillwell.
Okay.
And she's the author of several books. about the history of Portugal, and we're just negotiating a date. I've suggested to her the 20th of February 2025. I'm just waiting for them to get back to me to confirm.
Splendid. Okay, that'll be very interesting and rich, won't it, in terms of
Won't
history?
that be interesting?
Yeah,
yes. And for me, that's a great way to learn about history is through historical fiction, because I like a story. So the story's weaved into the facts, and I think that makes it very interesting.
Excellent. Something to look forward to there. So let's, I think we'll conclude the recording here, and stick around. We can, hopefully Filomena will stay with us a little bit longer if you want to ask something that's not going to go on the recording. However, before we go, you said there wasn't a lot of language. Let's go with the tongue twister to finish. Don't think we can't see you at home. We want you to say this out loud. It's in the chat now. You said the Zezer, where you are sitting, really, in the river.
Zezer, Carl.
Okay, but let's put it together with that little town, not a million miles away from Tamar. I think Jerry knows it. So could you help us with that? Can you see that in the chat there, the most recent thing, Filomena?
Let me check.
FDZ.
Ferreira do Zezer? Or
Yes, you make it sound so easy. But
Ferreira do Zezer.
yes,
Yeah.
if you break it down.
We locals just say FDZ.
No, the locals that are not Portuguese. Yeah. So Ferreira do Zezer. Ferreira do Zezer. And you see, Carl, you see why you have to stress the first syllable, because on the E, you have a acento circunflexo, that hat on the E, it makes you stress that part of the word. So that's why it's Zezer.
It's stressful enough already, but let's do that, everybody, after 3. 1, 2, 3. Ferreira
Ferreira do Zezer. Ferreira do Zezer.
Now, Jerry doesn't have to say FDZ next time he goes.
FDZ. I really recommend, there's a lovely little Portuguese Italian restaurant there called Toscana, and really nice for pizza as well as for traditional Portuguese food. We go there all the time. We love it. Really good.
I've eaten at that one, the pizza restaurant. Yes, on the back street.
Ferreira do Zezer.
Oh, there he goes.
Zezer.
Yes, it's a
Zezer. Very good. Very good.
Well done, Pedro.
Zezer. Ferreira do Zezer.
Ferreira do Zezer.
Go on.
Excellent. Excellent.
On that note, thanks, Filomena. Great webinar again tonight. We'll stop the recording there.